on. Obviously getting closer to the weekend. We've got March Madness at its ultimate zenith this weekend with the national champion. The Final Four of the men's and the women's should be outstanding basketball. Keep in mind, everybody, the women's tournament actually has its Final Four on Friday night. You do not want to miss at 9 o'clock. UConn going up against Iowa should be a fantastic game. The NC State-South Carolina game tips off earlier than that. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. As you guys know, Butt Fumble Sports is a sports content company created by a sports fan for you sports fans at home. We rant about what's going on in the sports world. We research for sports betting purposes and fantasy sports purposes. So hopefully we have a loaded show ahead of you. Hopefully you're with us for the entirety of it. If you guys have questions, feel free to fire away. We're live right now on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick. So make sure you throw your questions, your comments in the chat. Here to help you guys out in any way we can. Always feel free to comment. Love hearing from you guys. We're going to put out our picks as we do every single day. We'll put them up on the big board throughout the show and obviously share them with you at home. If you guys have questions, fire away. If there are games that you guys are focused on, let us know. I've already given out my MLB picks of the day, so make sure you guys go check those out on Instagram. If you guys want my picks for free every single day, just DM me on Instagram. You don't want to talk about sports betting? How about what's going on in the sports world? If you still want to talk about the Stephon Diggs trade, happy to do that as well. If you want to talk about the fantasy implications of that, whatever you guys want to cover, that's what I'm here for. Butt Fumble Sports will be here answering your questions, chatting it up with you guys, so feel free to hit us up. Martin V, what are the picks today? The MLB picks are on the Instagram story, Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram. But for those who don't want to check it out and just want to hear, I do like the Tigers to cover a 1.5 run spread. They're playing right now in Game 2 against the New York Mets. I do have the Pirates winning, Twins winning, and Royals winning tonight. Smaller schedule in MLB, so not as many games to bet on. Made it easy to put those out. So again, I'll put those up on the big board for those that are curious. I have the Tigers plus 1.5 in Game 2 of their doubleheader against the New York Mets. I have the Pirates on the money line. I have the Twins on the money line, and I have the Royals on the money line. Those are the picks that we have so far. Again, if you guys have questions, if there are games or props or anything that you guys want to focus on, throw those comments in the chat. Here to help you guys out in any way we can. That's what we're going to be doing during our time on the show today. So feel free to fire away. I do have some NBA to get to as well. We'll cover those games really quick. Let's take a look at some of the games in the NBA. Only a handful of them tonight. 76ers, Miami Heat. Obviously, the injury report's going to play a very big factor in this game. Right now, Joel Embiid is a game-time decision. Tobias Harris is out. Tyrese Maxey is a game-time decision. Jimmy Butler's a game-time decision. And Tyler Hero is out. So maybe the Miami Heat and 76ers is a game you want to wait until the injury report is set, the lineups are set and locked before you place a bet on it. Don't have any public money data, or rather public money data on it. We do know the tickets though. 60% of the tickets are on the 76ers to win. 64% of the money are on the Miami Heat to win in that game. Personally, I looked up the research prior to. If there's anything I kind of like, it's going to be the Miami Heat on the money line. That is what I would take. Miami Heat on the money line. Not going to put it on the big board just because I am worried about that injury report. But if you are curious about that 76ers and Heat game, Miami on the money line might be the right play. Carlos, Yankees or Arizona? Interesting. I don't have that game on the schedule today, so I don't see it, Carlos. I don't think that game's being played. I think they concluded that series. Christopher, sorry, just jumped in. Can you tell me your thoughts on Love tonight? Kevin Love? Interesting. Haven't talked about Kevin Love in some time. Let's take a quick look at the player prop bets involving Kevin Love. Man, it has been a minute since we talked Kevin Love. He's been injured for so much of the year. Let's take a look at his points, rebounds, and assist total. It's set at 14.5, 13.5, depending on where you find it. Again, he's played just one game since that massive layoff between February 27th and early April. For that reason, I don't really love looking at Kevin Love. If you're looking at threes specifically, let's think. Three-pointers made. He's actually been a very good trend on this, hitting 2 3-pointers consistently over his last 10 games. 6 of his last 10 this has hit. 3 straight games this has hit. It hit in his last game he played against the New York Knicks. I'm not going to bet this myself, but it actually is not a terrible trend. At home, even better. So King, I actually think Love to make over 1.5 3-pointers isn't a terrible idea. In terms of the matchup, it's okay. The 76ers are 12th in the league in 3-pointers allowed to power forwards. Not one that I'll bet, but certainly one that has a little enough to it in order to bet it. Sports Wisconsin, what's good? On Wisconsin, hope you're having a great day. White Sox Royals under 4.5 in the first 5 innings. Very good question. That game I'm certainly expecting to be on the lower scoring side of things, obviously between the weather and everything else. If I had to say in the first 5 innings, I'd probably lean towards yes, under 4.5. Personally, I don't love betting those, but I actually do think Zapala, that yes, under 4.5 in the first 5 is a decent bet. Chris, Heat minus 2.5, Indiana State minus 2.5. I like it, Chris. Guerra, so glad we're back. We are back. Hope you're having a great day. Wonderful to have you watching the show. Dante, any recommendations for Blues and Predators? El Pinche's also asking about the Canadians on the money line. Thanks so much, Chris. Thanks for the money gun. Feeling the love from you guys. Let's go check out some hockey. We've got some questions coming in about the hockey action tonight. Lightning, Canadians. Money coming in heavy on the Canadians, so keep your eye on that. Who asked that question a moment ago? Oh, El Pinche. I like the Canadians plus 1.5. Looks like they're actually a very good cover play. If you wanted to take them on the money line, kind of an interesting thought. Let me quickly just do some research on it. We're going to jump on over to killersports.com, and we're going to look at how the Canadians look for tonight's game. Team, Canadians, and when they play an opponent with an average winning percentage greater or equal to 500 like they have tonight, 14-28. How about as a home dog? Wow. Not great trends behind this one, I will say that. So if you wanted to take them, I like the plus 1.5. I really like them on the cover play. I don't necessarily like them on the money line, but on a cover play, I do like that take. So El Pinche, I take him to cover. Take him to cover plus 1.5. Canadians are favored because the Lightning are starting a third-string goalie. Well, that explains that. I still probably would take the Canadians to plus 1.5. Just what I feel safer with. So Canadians plus 1.5 goes up on the board. Oh, let's make sure we spell Canadians right. Sorry, eh? Let's check out more hockey. We got a question just a moment ago. That was about the Florida Panthers, I believe. Predators, Blues. Sorry, Predators and Blues was the question. Money coming down pretty heavily on the Blues to win this game. Let's take a quick look at it. When the Blues have faced a team with a winning record and they're an away dog, really have struggled over the course of the season. Predators. I've been betting less and less hockey over the course of the last couple of weeks. Predators on the money line feels like a very strong play right now. It's probably where I go with it. The under also feels like a good play. So that's actually where I would probably go on this one. I would take the under. Blues and Predators. I would go under 6.5. That's how I'd play that one. If I had to take a side, I'd take the Predators. But Dante, overall, I really like the under in that game. That's what feels like a strong play to me. Let's jump back over to TikTok. Bruins, Carolina Hurricanes, over 5.5. How is the public betting this game? Really quick, the under's getting a lot of love. Under's getting a lot of love. Let's take a look at the Bruins. Bruins are an away dog tonight. Don't love the total, actually. Sorry, Chris, you like the over. I actually do like the over, maybe just slightly. Over 5.5 actually feels like it could be a good play. I don't love it. I do like Bruins plus 1.5. I would take that. Bruins plus 1.5. I would take the Bruins to cover the 1.5 goal line. Let's take a look at the Hurricanes really quick. Yeah, I like the Hurricanes. I like the Bruins to cover the plus 1.5. I'm not going to bet the total. The under's been a very strong play over the last few games for the Carolina Hurricanes at home as a favorite against a team with a winning record. So there are just reasons for me to be a bit cautious on this. Let me dial it up a little bit. If a winning percentage is above 600. Just taking a quick look at it, Chris, before I answer your question. By the way, if you guys, make sure you guys hit that follow button and make sure you're subscribing. Do the Bruins not have a winning percentage above 600? That's interesting. Anyways, I'd probably stay away from the total. The under feels like a really strong play at 6.5. So I'd probably take the under 6.5 if I could. But Chris, I don't feel great about taking the over 5.5. Who do you have winning the NIT final tonight? I'm not going to bet it. If I had to go in any direction, though, give me Indiana State. I don't love taking Indiana State myself, simply because they're such a betting favorite. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Blurred, whatever you want to call the kid, he has certainly captured the hearts of a lot of sports bettors out there. I do think Indiana State wins the NIT. I'm not going to bet it myself, but I do think they ultimately come out with it. Under 6 for the Kings game. Someone's saying that's a lock. Kings, Sharks, being told the under 6. Let's take a look at it. When the Kings face a team with a sub 500 record and they're an away favorite, has it happened so far this year? It's a good question. KillerSports.com being a bit slow today. Dan Riggs likes the Hurricanes all the way. I like the Hurricanes to win. I like the Bruins to cover. Wow. Interesting trend here. Under 6, I kind of agree with you. Emmy, I agree. The under 6 goals looks like a good play for that Kings-Sharks game. Let's take a look at the Sharks when they're a home dog against a team with a winning record. Yeah, I think under 6. I think under 6, Emmy. I think that's a good call. Someone's saying the Wild plus 1.5 is a lock. Wild are at home against the Avalanche. Let's take a look at the Wild. And they face a above 500 opponent, and they're a home dog. Wow, Wild have really struggled in that scenario. They've gone 2-7 straight up. They've covered the spread actually fairly consistently, so that is one good note for you. You're who's saying Wild plus 1.5. They've done a good job covering the spread when they have lost. I'd also look for the under in that game. That's an interesting one. Let's take a look at the Avalanche side of things. Avalanche, when they play a team with a winning percentage, I think they're above 500. No, they're below 500. Okay. I didn't know the Wild were below 500. That said, I think I like the under, but I'm not going to bet the game. I understand the Wild plus 1.5, but I actually don't like it enough, to be honest with you. Ride the Nationals? I'm not riding the Nationals tonight. I understand that they got that win yesterday. The Pirates might be cooling off just a bit. But actually, I'm going to stick with the Pirates tonight. And actually, one of my favorite player prop bets of the night, Josiah Gray over 1.5 walks. If you can find it, Josiah Gray over 1.5 walks. Canes, I like Hurricanes winning 3-2 as well. I actually feel like that's a very good bet. ME's taking Seton Hall to cover. I like it. Royals on the money line? Yep, Carlos, I do like the Royals on the money line. Dante, Kings minus 1.5. Capitals best play over 5. My last question. Kings minus the 1.5. I'm not crazy about, but I could see it cashing. Let's take a look at that Capitals over 5.5 really quick. Total for the Capitals game right now is set at 5.5. Penguins are getting a lot of love in terms of who they think is going to win this game. Penguins facing a team with a sub 500 record, and they're an away favorite. Averaging around 3.4 goals. Let's take a look at the Capitals side of things. Capitals, when they're facing a team with an above 500 record, and they're a home dog. Penguins are sub 500. Man, there's some teams sub 500 that I didn't expect. Wait a minute. Are the Penguins 500 exactly? No, they're above 500. Capitals, home dog, winning percentage above 500. What am I missing here? Oh, it's because they're not technically a dog when they're at home. Okay, got it. I don't love that total play. If I had to go in any direction, I would take the over Dante. If I had to go in any direction for Capitals, I'd take the over 5.5. Just based on how the Penguins and Capitals, the average goal that they have is around 3, so I think you could get to 6. I'd love to see a 4-2 game and get you over that 5.5, but I would take the over Dante. So Kings minus 1.5, shaky. I like it, but shaky. Capitals over 5.5, I like. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Make sure you hit the follow button. Love having you guys with us. Devin, does Luka cover against the Hawks? We know what he did that last time. Granted, no Kyrie then. Let's take a look at it. Let's switch on over to the NBA, and let's look at Hawks and Mavericks. Hawks, dog. They're facing the Mavericks, who are a hot team. Hawks have gone 6-12 straight up against a team with a winning record, and the Hawks being an away dog. Have been doing a decent job covering the spread over the last few weeks, but they failed to do so in their last 2 games under these circumstances against the Lakers and the Suns. Some more things I actually want to focus on. I want to see how the Hawks have done when they're on 0 days of rest against an opponent with an above 500 record. So, wow, Hawks have actually done... Nope. When the Hawks have 0 days of rest. So when the Hawks are on 0 days of rest, they've gone 3-5 straight up, 3-5 against the spread. The over has gone 5-3, but they've struggled for the most part when they are on 0 days of rest and their opponent has at least 1 day of rest. And an away dog in that scenario. Wow, Hawks are 0-3 straight up and 0-3 against the spread when they are on 0 days of rest and away underdog against an above 500 team. I really do like the Mavericks on the money line. That's not surprising. I already put that one out there for you guys. But let's take a look at the Mavericks, see if they can cover that spread. They've got that massive double-digit spread. So when they do have a spread that's greater than, let's say, minus 11, Mavericks have gone 6-0 under that scenario. They've gone 4-2 against the spread. The times they failed to cover the spread, the Wizards and the Hornets both got them. Let's take a look at the injury report really quick for Hawks and Mavericks. Derek Lively out, Greg Brown out, Trae Young obviously still out. I could see the Mavericks covering the spread, but not at the 12. I'd rather take it. Interestingly enough, their average margin of difference in terms of their winning margin has been around 12 points. It's actually been higher than that. Sorry, it's been 22 points. So I will take the cover. I will take it. I'll even put this one up on the board. I haven't put the basketball picks yet out, but I do have them right here. Let's throw them up on the board, everybody. We do like Mavericks on the money line. That would be a parlay play, but I'll take the Mavericks to cover. I'll take the Mavericks. Let's take them at plus 10.5. I think they win by double digits. I think they're going to win by more than that, obviously. Plus 9.5, plus 10.5. Would really like that. So, yeah, let's get on the Mavericks, everybody. I love it. Now, let's have some fun. Let's jump over onto a player prop bet now, and let's see how Luka Doncic will fare tonight. Luka Doncic, a player prop bet for those curious. First, what are the matchups that he has? Great matchup when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists. Luka Doncic could actually have a massive game against the Hawks. He scored 73, obviously, the last time these two teams met. His point total tonight set at 33.5. That's very, very high, and he has not been hitting that consistently, so I wouldn't take it at 33.5. If I were to take it anywhere, try to get it at over 29.5. Probably not, worth it to you at minus 275. 33.5 feels very, very high. This opened at 36.5 and has worked its way down to 33.5. Kind of tells you all you need to know. I don't love it. To be honest with you. Again, if you can get it over 29.5, I do like it. Taking a look at the 33.5 that it's set at right now, he has gone over 33.5 in 6 of his last 7 home games, so maybe that's enough of a reason to take it. 13 of his last 20 home games, he's hit over this. Personally, I'm willing to take it at maybe 31.5 points. Could I see him getting to 35? Sure. I'd rather get him at, getting to 32. But if you feel like that's splitting hairs and you just want to take it at the 33.5, go for it. But I'll put this up on the board. Luka Doncic over 31, let's say 30.5 points. I'll say 30.5 just to play it a little bit safe. Let's flip it over. I want to check out Kyrie Irving. Kyrie, I want to look at his point total set for tonight at 25.5. That feels very high. How about his assist total? Kyrie's actually been struggling on assists of late. At home, it's been better, but overall, not great. Just taking a look against the Hawks. Nothing really that stands out. I just wanted to see if there was something that was playable. Appreciate you guys being with us. Throw your questions and comments in the chat. Nate James, Warriors or Rockets? Warriors or Rockets? Great question there. Warriors and Rockets game tips off at 8 o'clock tonight. Let's look at some trends around this one. Now, right now, as of this moment, the Warriors are a 3.5 point favorite. This opened at 4, has worked its way down to 3.5. Not a ton of line movement on this one. As for injury report, Jonathan Kuminga is a game-time decision. Jonathan Kuminga, game-time decision. Gary Payton Jr., game-time decision as well. No injuries for the Rockets that stand out. Let's take a look at these trends. When the Warriors are an away favorite and against a above 500 team, amazing to think the Rockets are above 500, but the Warriors have gone 4-1 under that scenario so far this year, 3-2 against the spread. So Warriors have done a decent job. Jonathan Kuminga potentially being out is the only thing that kind of has me a little bit cautious. You may want to make sure that he's in the lineup before you place a bet down. Let's flip it around. Let's look at the Rockets. When the Rockets have played a team with an above 500 record and they are a home dog, Rockets have gone 8-7 straight up, 10-5 against the spread. They've done a much better job covering the spread over the last 2-3 months than they have of actually winning these games. So, at 4, let's see when the line is less than 5, because the line's 3.5, 4. Rockets have done a good job of covering the spread under that scenario. That was 3.5, that was 4.5, that was 1.5. Let's see, when the line is above, let's say 3, and between that, they've only gone 3-2. About a 2-point margin of difference. Warriors have really blown out that competition, but it's from November, December, February, and February. Not as much data from that. Personally, the Jonathan Kuminga, that's what's standing out to me. Let's take a look at the Rockets against an opponent with an average winning percentage greater than 500, and they're on equal days of rest of 1. And the Rockets are at home. 5-6 straight up, 4-6-1 against the spread when they're a home dog. Yeah, I don't like this enough. I probably would say Warriors on the money line, but Warriors money line, Rockets to cover at like plus 6.5. That's actually what I'd probably put on the bet. I would take the Rockets at plus 6.5, plus 7.5. That's what I would take. So Rockets plus 6.5, plus 7.5. That's what I would do for that Warriors and Rockets game. ME likes Luka to put up a big points total tonight. I think you're right. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe. El Pinche, thoughts on the Lakers making a run for the 6th seed. Everyone's trying to hype up the Lakers and how they've been performing over the last few weeks. They've obviously been a much hotter team, and yet they've made no ground in the Western Conference. I think there's something to be said for that. I think we are hearing a lot about the Lakers because they're the Lakers. They're a brand name. They're a narrative. They're what sports media outlets like to talk about. But let's be honest, this Western Conference is incredibly deep. It is way more talented than it was last year, in my opinion. And I think for those reasons, the Lakers may make a push to get into those the top 8 seeds. But I still think they are going to be playing in the play-in game either way. Someone asking about the Nuggets. Nuggets and Clippers. Let's take a look at it. Nuggets are a 4.5-point favorite for this game right now. This opened as a 1.5-point favorite. It's drastically moved to 3.5, 4.5. Jamal Murray's a game-time decision. Nikola Jokic, game-time decision. Aaron Gordon, game-time decision. So a couple of brand names, star power for the Nuggets that is questionable. Kawhi Leonard is out. Kawhi Leonard is out, everybody. Kawhi Leonard out for this game, everybody. By the way, crack stats, Josiah Gray already has 2 walks. Love to hear it. I told you guys over 2.5 is what I was really hoping for. Let's see if he can get to that 3. That said, Kawhi Leonard out for this game, so keep your eye on that one. One of the reasons this point total has moved, the line movement has moved as well. So, a couple of stars potentially out. We know Kawhi Leonard's out. Maybe Nikola Jokic, maybe Jamal Murray as well. Could impact some things. Let's just look at how the public's betting this game so far. As of right now, 95% of the money is on the Nuggets to win. 98% of the money, 98% of the tickets are on the Nuggets to cover. And the over is getting a lot of action on the total. Let's take a look at the Nuggets. When they're facing a team with a winning record, they're a favorite, and let's say the line is greater than -4. Interestingly enough, Nuggets have only gone 2-2 under that scenario, and they're 0-3-1 against the spread. Very interesting. The exact scenario of tonight's game. The Nuggets are at least a 4-point favorite on the road against a team with a winning record. They have yet to cover the spread so far this year under that scenario. Kind of interesting to see that. Let's flip it over. And let's take a quick look at how the Clippers have done under that scenario when they've been a home dog and they've had a spread of at least 4 points. Greater than 3. Man, the Clippers are 0-2 under that scenario. I like the Nuggets on the money line. I'm not going to overthink this one. I do like the Nuggets on the money line. I don't love the spread. I wish I had more confidence in it, but I don't know the injury report for the Nuggets just yet. That's what's going to hold me back. I do think the Nuggets win. No Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers. Trends certainly suggest the Nuggets are going to take this one. I like the Nuggets to get the win. I'm not going to bet the spread, though, until I know the injury report. If Jokic and Murray are both playing, I take the Nuggets to cover, let's say 2.5, but I'm a little bit cautious about it before the injury report comes out. User, do I like the Warriors on the money line? I feel okay about it. I don't love it. I like it. Me personally, I decided to bet the Rockets to cover. I think the Warriors probably do take the money line, so I'd probably take Warriors money line Rockets plus 6.5. Rockets plus 7.5. Appreciate you guys being with us. Believe Murray is out, Jokic in. RJD, if that's the scenario, I'd still take the Nuggets on the money line. Still probably feel good about taking the Nuggets at minus 2.5, but not with the same level of conviction. Someone's asking about De'Aaron Fox, 4.5 rebounds. Let's go do some player prop bet work for everybody right now. Let's take a look at Fox, De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings. Specifically, we're going to look at rebounds for De'Aaron Fox. Set right now at 4.5. It's been a very good trend. This is cashed in 8 of his last 10 games. Head-to-head matchup, though, against the New York Knicks tonight. Not a favorable one. The Knicks are the 6th best defense in the NBA at when it comes to rebounds allowed to point guards. So a pretty good team. On the road, still been a pretty good trend. This is cashed in 5 of his last 7 games, and when it's missed, it's been at 4 pretty consistently. If you could get it over 3.5, that's the play I really like. Not great odds, though, so 4.5 would have to be the take. Man, I don't love it. And it's because the Knicks are such a tough matchup for this one. Head-to-head against the Knicks. He did cash this one time, but it was in Sacramento. That was back on March 16th. For the moment, is OG playing in this game? OG's out. Josh Hart is a game-time decision. You know what? User 3189. I would take Fox over the 4.5, and it has to do with who's out for the Knicks. No OG Anunoby, Josh Hart game-time decision. Those two things impacted. Keep in mind, Malik Monk is out for the Sacramento Kings. So user 3189. I like that Fox over 4.5. I actually think that's a pretty good play. Let me hand out a couple more picks for everybody, just in case you guys were curious. I do like the Kings and the Knicks to go under their point total. For all those that are curious about it, Knicks, Kings, I like it to go under the point total. Right now, the total is set at 213.5. It opened at 216. I'd probably buy it up, get an alternative line, take it under 217.5. That's Kings, Knicks, under 217.5. Kings, Knicks, under 217.5. Hope you guys are loving the content, loving the show. Make sure you hit the follow button. Butt Fumble Sports is live on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick as often as we can be. So make sure you guys hit the follow button. El Pinche, Sidney Crosby, shots on goal. Let's take a look at that. We haven't looked at too many NHL player prop bets in a while. So let's take a look at Sidney Crosby shots on goal. Sid the Kid. His shots on go total is set at 3.5 right now. It's actually it's a good matchup that he has. It's not a great trend. How about head-to-head against the Capitals, though? It's been a decent trend in that regard on the road. 2 of his last 3 games, this is hit. I would take the over. I would take the over 3.5, and here's the reason why. The reason I take the over, El Pinche, isn't because I really like it. It's because the return on investment. I don't think you're getting a good enough return on the under. The under 3.5 is coming in at minus 140, where over 3.5's plus 120. I know it hasn't been a very good trend over the last 20 games, over the last 10. Really not a good trend overall. But for the return on investment, the plus 120, I'd actually be willing to take the chance on it. So, El Pinche, I'm not endorsing it. I'm just giving you my line of thinking. Appreciate you guys being with us. Again, here's a quick reminder of the picks we've given out so far during the show. We have the Tigers plus 1.5 in the game they're playing right now against the New York Mets. We have Pirates on the money line, Twins on the money line, Royals on the money line. In the NHL, we have the Blues and Predators under 6.5, Canadians plus 1.5, Bruins plus 1.5. As for the NBA, we have the Mavericks on the money line. We have the Mavericks on the money line. We also like the Mavericks at minus 9.5, minus 10.5. We like the Rockets plus 6.5 or plus 7.5. We have the Nuggets on the money line. Kings and Knicks under 217.5. And we like Luka Doncic to reach 31 points at least, going over 30.5 points. Appreciate you guys being with us. Someone's asking about Joel Embiid and his point total tonight. Let's go take a look at it. Joel Embiid, taking a look at his point total. Set at 25.5. Prior to the injury, he had been hitting this very consistently. He got 24 points in his game in his first start back. Keep in mind, he is a game-time decision tonight, so something to be aware of. Head-to-head against the Heat, he went for 27 points in February, 21 points in the last game that he played, which was against... Huh? That was a year ago. Sorry. I saw the April 6th, and I was like, that game hasn't happened yet, and it's of last year. So in his last 2 games, he's averaged around 23, 24 points. I just want to look at how he's done without Tobias Harris in the lineup. No Tobias Harris. He's hit 25 points in every game that he's played so far this year without Tobias Harris. So when Tobias Harris is out, Joel Embiid has hit 25 points all 7 times. The only time that he failed to get 26 points, he hit 25. So what I would do is I take Joel Embiid over 24.5 points. That's what I would take for this game tonight. That's Joel Embiid over 24.5 points, and that is purely based on the fact that Tobias Harris is out tonight. So far this season, when Tobias Harris hasn't played, Embiid's hit 25 points all 7 times in which Tobias Harris has been on the bench. So we will take Joel Embiid over 24.5 points, over 24.5. Dallas and Atlanta over under. I don't like either side on this one. There were trends that suggested both sides of it, so I just avoided it. Someone's asking about Bam Adebayo. Let's go take a look at Bam. Specifically, we're being asked about rebounds when it comes to Bam Adebayo. Not a great matchup, actually. 76ers are the 10th best defense in the NBA when it comes to rebounds allowed to centers. Embiid has been right around the double-digit mark consistently over the last 10 games. In 7 of his last 10, he's hit double digits. The 3 times he failed to, he hit 9 rebounds. At home, he's been pretty consistently around that 9.5 mark. Again, it's at 9.5. Move it down if you can. Take it at 8.5. It's a good play. Some of you, though, not good enough. That is what I would take. It'd be Bam Adebayo over 8.5. Over 8.5 rebounds. If you wanted to take it at the 9.5, I feel like it's a little bit of a risk. I don't love it. I think it's worth taking. Yes, I'd probably say he gets to double digits, but I'm not going to bet it myself. That said, if you were to take this, I feel like you could take the over 9.5 and get a good return on the investment. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the content, loving the show. Butt Fumble Sports is a sports content company created by a sports fan for you sports fans at home. I love talking sports with you guys every day, ranting about what's going on in the sports world. Hope you guys hit the follow button if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, or on TikTok. Make sure you're a member of this great community of sports fans. Again, we're here every single day that we can be talking sports with you guys. So make sure you never miss it. Who do you like in the Knicks and Kings? Right now, for the moment, I'm not going to actually place a bet on that game. If I had to go in any direction for it, I like the under. Knicks and Kings under 217.5. Just don't feel good enough about the Knicks. I want to take the Knicks on the money line. I don't feel good enough about it to put it up on the big board. Carlos, we looked at Kyrie a little bit ago, but don't like it enough. Thoughts on Mike Wood over 3.5 shots on goal? Let's do another hockey player prop bet, everybody. We haven't done too many of those. Sorry, Miles Wood. Miles Wood, his shot on goal total is set at 2.5. Opened at 2, has moved up to 2.5. Kind of interesting there. This has been a phenomenal trend. This has cashed in 9 of his last 10 games on the road. 5 straight games, 7 of his last 10. Love it. User 6590. I would say yes, yes, yes. Miles Wood over 2.5. The fact you're getting it at plus 145, that's why I like it. I understand that this isn't as good a trend on the road as it has been at home. Head to head, it's actually a decent matchup. I like it. So Miles Wood, over 2.5 shots on goal. And the real reason for that is because you're getting it at plus 145. Good return on the investment. So I would take it, user 6590. What's your favorite player prop? Well, for Major League Baseball, my favorite player prop bet today is Luis Arraez over half a single. Luis Arraez over half a single. If you can get it, I would take it. I really like Josiah Gray over 1.5, over 2.5 walks. I gave that one out earlier. But keep your eye on Luis Arraez over half a single. I also like Paul Goldschmidt over half a walk. Paul Goldschmidt over half a walk as well. Those are a couple of the player prop bets I like for MLB. As for the NBA tonight, we have Luka Doncic over 30.5 points, Joel Embiid over 24.5 points, and Bam Adebayo over 8.5 rebounds, everybody. Crack stats, Arraez already have a hit. Was it a single? Was it a single? Carlos Gonzalez, Miles Wood, over 2.5 shots on goal. Miles Wood, over 2.5 shots on goal was the play. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the show. Make sure you follow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you never miss a chance when we're live. I will be live almost every single day. I said to you guys yesterday we had taken a break for a couple weeks, but I'm going to be back live almost every single day at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. On the weekends, it'll be earlier in the morning. That way we can accommodate afternoon baseball. Lost $2,000 yesterday betting. Any suggestions? Kevin D, this is what my suggestion, by the way, Crack Stats, thank you. This is what my suggestion would be. So the reason I actually took a couple weeks off from doing live shows is I've been struggling on my bets. I haven't been hitting at the rate I like, both in the percentage and return on money. I'd actually been losing money for a couple weeks. So I went back into the lab and I looked at the variables that I was betting on. What was driving my decision making was I looking at false outliers or false indicators. One thing I would say is be aware of what point in the season we're in. One of the things that was actually hurting me is NBA bets weren't coming in with the same consistency. Part of that actually has to do with a lot of teams are starting to rest their starters. That was hurting me a little bit, and it impacted some of my betting outcomes. Additionally, we just came out of March. March is a huge betting month. Hopefully you guys are ahead. Some are not. Be smart about your bets. Don't try and make up the loss really quickly by placing more and more money down on new bets. Come up with a really safe unit amount. So if you want to make your bets $1, $2, $5, 10 cents, I don't care. But do it so that you're going after wins, growing up your bank account, growing up your capital bit by bit. But if you lost a large amount of money, don't go chasing it. Don't try to make it all back in one fell swoop. Don't try to turn it around and turn one bet into another. What book do you bet on? I usually tend to bet a lot on DraftKings. I'm not overly loyal to any particular sports book, but I tend to use them because their odds are usually pretty good for me. FanDuel's fine as well. Should I take Luka at 33.5 points? Micah, I didn't love it, but I like it enough where if you wanted to, you could. Stickum, Bam Adebayo, 7.5 rebounds is an alt line. Love it. Stickum, you might want to put that into a 2-leg parlay, but I do love it at the 7.5 if you can get it. That's as consistent a bet as you can find given his history of rebounds. Dante, Josiah Gray, over 2.5 earned runs. There you go, Josiah Gray. Also cashed on Twins. No run in the first inning. Very, very happy to hear it. Dante keeping us honest. By the way, Dante brings up a great point. Bet small, never chase. And guys, everybody loses. The important point is don't overlose. Don't chase losing. Try to find bets that you feel confident in. Put a unit amount on that you feel comfortable with. If you start to lose, maybe you back off a little bit. Only chase bets that you really feel good about. What did you say your other favorite player prop bet was for the NBA? My favorite player prop bets for the NBA today are Luka Doncic over 30.5 points, Joel Embiid over 24.5 points, and Bam Adebayo over 8.5 rebounds. What is my average unit size? It's actually about $1. My average unit size is about $1. Now, I bet more than most of you guys do during the day. I place an average of between anywhere from 70 to about 120 bets a day because I'm doing this for the show. I do it for obviously for a lot of entertainment for a lot of you guys. So I do a lot of bets every day. That's why my unit amount is about $1. If I feel very confident in something, I'll put $5 down on something. I'll put $10 down on something. But I don't have a heavy unit amount because I love playing things kind of safe. I don't want to lose too much. So my unit amount is usually around $1. If I do round robins, my unit amount is between 25 cents and 15 cents. But that's because I'm betting so many bets that actually that unit amount feels good to me. So again, unit amount has nothing to do with the size of your dick, your income, anything like that. It's not something in which you should feel any kind of sheepishness about it. It's about what you feel comfortable with. Just because the guy over there told you he's putting $500 down on a game doesn't mean you should. Maybe he's got the 500 to lose. I always think of the example with Michael Jordan. People talked about this during The Last Dance. Bro, why would you follow this guy? You don't have to. YL, you can go elsewhere. But I always think of Michael Jordan. What was $5 to us, maybe $50,000 to him, just given how much money he's making. By the way, guys, if you don't love the show, feel free to swipe on. Certainly okay. I'm just here to provide insight into my experience. I never want to make myself out to be any kind of expert. I love looking at data, trends, everything else. So, yeah, the answer is, do I ever claim to be an expert? Hell no. I love doing this on my own. I look at killersports.com, Outlier, Ballpark Pal. I look at a number of different websites to try to find the best data every single day. But I want you guys to know, I will never ever claim to be like perfect at this. I'm not a professional gambler. I'm someone who loves talking sports, and I love looking at data behind sports. Do I bet on sports for a living? No, I do not. I do not. I make sports content, so I love talking about sports. My background is in being a producer of sports content at ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports. So I want to make sure that you guys hear this. Jerome, you're right. Jerome, what's your question? Jerome Hazelton. Jerome got me right, got me thinking straight. I don't need to talk about my own background. I can just go back to answering some of your questions. Jerome, what are some questions that you have, buddy? Am I taking Odunze or Neighbors if he lands in a better situation? In terms of a draft pick, I'd go Neighbors. I actually think from a fantasy standpoint, it could be interesting which one turns into the better fantasy own based on the situation. Kevin, I worked in the programming department. This was 12 years ago. Since then, I've been at Fox Sports and CBS Sports. Sixers or Heat tonight? Ben Dover, I'm going with the Miami Heat. I'm taking the Heat on the money line tonight. Heat on the money line. No Tobias Harris tonight. Jimmy Butler is questionable. Tyrese Maxey is questionable. Ben, you might want to check the injury report before you make a bet. Jerome, you have Kings on the money line. I'm not betting that game in terms of a side. I don't have a strong conviction about who wins. I do like Kings and Knicks under. Kings and Knicks under. Blue Rag is letting us know Butler is playing. That makes me like the Heat that much more. I will take Heat on the money line now that we know Jimmy Butler is going to play. That's Miami Heat on the money line. I do like it. Ben, you like Iowa tomorrow? Yes, I do. And here's the reason I like the Iowa Hawkeyes in tomorrow night's women's Final Four game. The favorite has done incredibly well in the money line in this women's tournament. Now, when it comes to the spread, I may take UConn. I think I like UConn to cover, but I will take Iowa to win. I'll also say this, and I know people will kind of throw this out as just conspiracy theory, and it may be. ESPN wants Iowa to advance. I obviously know UConn comes with a massive following of its own, but I think we saw in the foul calls that were made between LSU and Iowa, if there's a chance for Caitlin Clark to make it to a national championship game, ESPN, the NCAA, the women's tournament wants Caitlin Clark to get there, so don't be surprised if the foul calls tend to favor Iowa if it's a close game down the stretch, but I could see UConn covering the spread. Za King is asking about Kelly Oubre on props. Let's take out Kelly Oubre. By the way, guys, I really appreciate the support you guys show me. I know there's some haters out there. I appreciate you guys sticking up for me and letting me know that you got my back. Kelly Oubre is not showing up right now. So let's take a look if Kelly Oubre is out for this game. I'm not seeing him in the player prop bets for some reason. Maybe he's not just being offered. I'm seeing no Kelly Oubre being offered right now. Any leans on the NIT championship? I'm leaning towards Indiana State, just barely. Pat Ben, Warriors W. I think the Warriors win. I do like the Rockets to cover, though. Ben, do I like Denver minus 4.5? If Jamal Murray and Jokic both play, yes. If it's only Jokic, I'd like to bring that down to minus 2.5, but I do feel like the Nuggets win that game. Team of the 90s, you've been doing great on scoreless first inning bets. Happy to hear it. Hope you guys are loving the content and loving the show. Who you got, Seton Hall or Indiana? I'm going Indiana State. And here's the real reason why. They've actually been a really good team. They have been an NCAA tournament caliber team for the last few months. They really got hosed by the committee. Virginia didn't belong in the NCAA tournament, and Indiana State got knocked out. I think Indiana State has proven they're one of the best 64 teams in the country, and the NIT is a reflection on the best 65 teams and less. So I honestly believe that Indiana State's a better team. I'll take them on the money line. I understand from a betting perspective that may not be as good a bet. Really quick, let's take a look at it. Indiana State, a 2.5 point favorite. I like Indiana State to win this game. It opened at 1.5. It's moved to 2.5. Indiana State has covered 9 of their last 10 games by this margin. So I do like Indiana State to win. Isaiah likes Seton Hall, so we got a challenge going. Do you like the Hawks to beat the Mavericks tonight? No. Ace, I love the Mavericks to the point where I actually have the Mavs covering. Kick Rocks, I don't like the total in that game. Feels like that one's a tough one to cover. Sportsbooks know that Oubre is going to have a good game. Za King letting you guys know. You might want to jump on Kelly Oubre tonight. Had to be Drake. There you go. Luka Doncic, over 3.5 3-pointers. We looked at Doncic for his point total. Someone's asking about Doncic on 3-pointers. Let's take a look at that one, everybody. Luka Doncic, and we're going to look at his 3-point total specifically. 3-pointers made is set at 3.5. The Hawks are one of the worst teams in the league at covering the 3-pointers. Against point guards, they're one of the worst. 30th in the league. I like it. I like Luka Doncic to hit 4 3-pointers tonight. At home, very consistent trend. 6 out of the last 7 games this has hit. Over the last 20, this has hit in 12 of the last 20 home games. I like it. Micah, I like the bet. Luka Doncic over 3.5 3-pointers. Bazaa King, he has always torched the Hawks. By the way, is there a trade right now that, like, in the moment or at various times we were like, oh, that was a fair trade, that the longer it goes, we're like, no, that wasn't a fair trade? Trae Young looks like he won't be with the Hawks next year. Luka Doncic looks like he's going to have a statue outside of Dallas at some point. So, big note there. Someone's asking about Jalen Brunson. Let's take a look at Jalen Brunson on points. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Make sure you hit the follow button. If you ever want my picks for free, just DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports, the name of my company. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make every day for free. Jalen Brunson doesn't have a great matchup tonight. Kings are the 13th ranked defense in terms of points allowed to point guards. He actually hasn't been that hot in this area as well. At home, he hasn't gone over 28 points but one time in his last 7 starts. So I really don't like Jalen Brunson tonight. OG Anunoby being out doesn't impact anything. If Josh Hart is out, maybe I like it a little bit more. But for the moment, I would take Jalen Brunson under 29.5 points. Jalen Brunson, I don't think gets to 30. So I will say Jalen Brunson under 29.5 points. Jalen Brunson under 29.5. Yeah, I know he put up 42 against the Kings the last time they played. Just not crazy about it. He actually put up 18 the last time they played. That's what I'm saying. Appreciate you guys being with us. I am going to jump off now. Hope you guys have really enjoyed the show. Really quick, let me recap all the picks I've given out so far. So if you missed any of the picks, let me recap them really quick. Baseball, we have Tigers plus 1.5 in Game 2. We have Pirates on the money line, Twins on the money line, Royals on the money line. For the NHL tonight, we've got the Blues Predators under 6.5, Canadians plus 1.5, Bruins plus 1.5. For the NBA, game picks, we have Heat on the money line, Mavericks on the money line, but we really like the Mavericks also to cover minus 9.5, minus 10.5. I like the Rockets plus 6.5, plus 7.5. Nuggets on the money line. Kings, Knicks under 27.5. And as for some player prop bets, I like Luka Doncic over 30.5 points. Joel Embiid over 24.5 points. Bam Adebayo over 8.5 rebounds. And Jalen Brunson under 29.5 points. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the show as well. Make sure you guys hit the follow button. Make sure you guys are with us and never miss a show. I will be live tomorrow at what time? 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. On the weekends, we're live usually at about 11 a.m. So, had a lot of fun talking to you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. DM me on Instagram, ButtFumbleSports. DM me on Instagram if you guys want any of my picks every single day. So hit me up. Have a wonderful evening. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.